Let's take a look at another powerful single strike VMAX. This time, it's Tornadus. Welcome back everyone to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch and today we're going to be taking a look at Tornadus VMAX, a really powerful single strike Pokemon that can take some big knockouts on the PTCGO ladder. It's really good, well it's good fun anyway, and before we jump into the deck list, thank you very much to everyone who liked the last video. We hit that 300 like mark very quickly. I'd like to see 300 more likes on this video if we can, and if we do, that would be fantastic. Hit the like down below, I'd appreciate it. So this is the Tornadus VMAX deck list that I've been playing around with. It's a very cool attacker, and it's relatively easy to get your hands on as well. On PTCGO, it's not too expensive. Here is the card that we are looking at. Tornadus VMAX, 320 HP for a normal type VMAX, a very nice number to have, and a pretty good typing. It's weak to lightning, and at the moment there's not too many lightning decks on the ladder, which is a very good thing. Also resists fighting, so you're not going to have to worry about those Urshifu VMAXs. Blasting Wind for 2 energy is a solid baseline attack. We deal 60 damage, which we can modify with single strike energy and powerful colorless energy, because we've got obviously the colorless typing. But the main attack that we want to be looking at is Max Wind Spirit. For 4 energy, we deal 120, plus if there is a stadium in play, we deal 120 more, and then discard that stadium. So that means we're dealing 240 damage with a stadium in play, plus we've got 4 energy, so that's a potential for 4 modifiers from single strike or powerful colorless energy. We can potentially get up to 320 damage with this attack, which is enough to knock out almost every VMAX in the game. Obviously, being a single strike deck, we are playing a 4/4 line of Houndoom with single strike raw. That will help us accelerate our single strike energies. We also have powerful colorless to help modify that damage a little bit more. It means that we've got 8 modifying energy in the deck, which is super strong. We just have to rely on those Houndooms to get these single strike energies out. We also have, as a side attacker, 1 copy of the new single strike Tauros, which is a very good little attacker, can help us put some nice damage out there. Raging Bull is the attack that we're most interested in. For 2 energy, it deals 20 damage, plus it deals an extra 20 for every damage counter on this Tauros. So if we attach 2 strong energy, 2 powerful, no, not 2 powerful colors, 2 single strike energy, if I could say the correct word, that would be fantastic. 2 powerful, no, come on Mitch, get it together. 2 single strike energy on Tauros means that we're going to be dealing 20 plus 40 plus an extra 80 damage because of the 40 damage counters that will be placed on the Tauros. That gets us to a very respectable amount of damage. It's about 140 off the top of my head, which for a 1 prize attacker is really good. Anyway, I've bumbled my way through this. You can tell that I haven't done it for a couple of days. Let's go and play some games on the ladder. Alright, game time. We've got Houndoom, we've got Tornadus in the active, we've got a Pokémon which can get rid of the Tornadus VMAX in our hand and grab, I think, just a Tauros. We might just get ourselves a little backup attacker on the field nice and early. And then we're going to use Quick Ball, and I'm going to grab myself another Houndour, I think. This is actually a fantastic start. Now we can Crobat for 5, see if we can't find an energy attachment. We can. Capture energy is good. I don't think we want to find anything though. I kind of want to leave that bench space open just in case, and then we can end the turn. But if we look at this, we are in a position to get our 4 energy attack off with Tornadus VMAX. Next turn we have 2, we've got an energy in hand, we've got 2 evolution pieces and an evolution incense in our hand. That means we can get to we can get to our 240 damage attack, assuming of course that a stadium goes into play. The thing though that we need to be cognizant of is the fact that we are playing Malamar. And that is a pretty frightening deck, to be brutally honest. Malamar is an interesting one. Rapid Strike Malamar can very easily overpower opponents' decks. We've seen it on the channel before. There's a video on it already. But at the moment, it doesn't look like they're dealing too much damage to us, which is a good thing. What we're going to do then, since they've gusted out the Tauros, is we're going to single strike Raw to our Tauros here. And then we will, let's go for our Evo Incense. I'm going to grab another Houndoom. We can put that into play. And then we can use Single Strike Roar again and grab another Single Strike Energy. We're can put that onto the Tauros as well. We'll attach Capture Energy and then leave it at that. I think we can just Raging Bull, take the knockout on Inkay, which is really, really good. You can see 180 damage for a 2 energy attacker is something to definitely be concerned about. That Tauros is such a powerful attacker. I will at some point do a deck that is based around Tauros, because it is good enough. It is definitely good enough. We've seen it right here, right now. It is definitely powerful enough. So I'm not going to knock Tauros off of the OG 150 challenge for this one, I don't think. I think we're just going to use it as a backup attacker, and then we'll come back to it later on. But as you can see, we are now in a dominant position, mainly because of our opponent's inconsistencies, I think. And this is a problem, of course, with Tornadus, is that it can struggle with decks that set up quickly, because it does require a lot of energy investment. We're lucky here that our opponent is having a pretty rough time. They're going to need to Bruno here to draw some more cards, because we've been given a perfect start, and our opponent is struggling, which means that we've given ourselves plenty of opportunities to start taking knockouts, which is the most important thing. And we managed to find the Wyndon Stadium off of the prizes, and this is a really interesting inclusion in this deck because it does a little bit of healing, which is always good. It heals from Vs when they evolve into VMAXs, so we might get an opportunity to show that off here. Let's retreat. We don't want to attack with this Tauros again. We will retreat. We will use the Urn of Vitality that we have in our hand to put those 2 energies back into the deck. Then I will single strike Roar, and we're going to attach both of these energies to the active Tornadus. I think that's a pretty solid way to go here. Because then we can show off this Wyndon Stadium, right? We can evolve into our Tornadus VMAX, and then the effective Wyndon Stadium heals the 40 damage. We can attach Capture Energy to the Tauros, and then we can actually just Blasting Wind here. We don't even need to use our second attack, because we are dealing 100 damage, which will knock out the Chinchino, and we are one step closer to winning this game. Our opponent still has not managed to find a Malamar, so I'm feeling relatively comfortable in this matchup, and it's a bit of a shame, because I would have liked it if our opponent was putting some more pressure on, just to show off how the deck is good enough to take really consistent knockouts. But our opponent obviously hasn't been able to do that. Ironically, if they were able to, then we probably would be in a pretty rough position, because the 2 cards in our hand are not great. Like, Karen's Conviction and Tornadus VMAX are good cards, but they're not really that good right now. So we definitely need to be concerned about a potential knockout in the long run. The good thing about our hand, though, is that we can use our Single Strike Roar to get another energy on our Tauros, so we're definitely going to be able to take knockouts on whatever our opponent throws forward. We are going to be taking 2 prizes this turn on Oricorio, unless our opponent retreats into something else, so we've got plenty of things to do. It's not like we're not able to capitalize on our serious head start here. We're going to go for our Single Strike Energy. Let's put that energy on the Tauros, like I mentioned, and then we can just max Wind Spirit, take the knockout on Oricorio, and move to 2 prizes remaining. A Boss's Orders is a good card to get, as is a powerful Colorless Energy, but no draw support. So we have to hope that our opponent doesn't knock our Tornadus VMAX out, and the worst part is that realistically they could. Malamar can deal 320 damage, which is frankly very concerning. We at least have the backup attacker in Tauros. If they miss the knockout on our Tornadus, though, we will go on to win this game, I think. I don't think there's any way that our opponent could come back from not knocking this Tornadus out, but it's definitely possible. All it takes is 8 cards, 8 Rapid Strike cards from our opponent, and they will take a knockout, because 8 times 4 is 32. I've been doing my maths, ladies and gentlemen. I've been practicing, and now I have a general understanding of how 4 times tables work. So there's that. Also, I've just realised how big I am. I've probably been covering cards this whole time. I'm ever so sorry. To be honest, it's not going to make too much of a difference for most of the video, because our hand's not been very big. So we don't need to care about it. I'll just make sure that I make myself smaller for the next one, shall I? But yeah. Our opponent has 7 cards in hand. At present, it doesn't look like they're going to be taking a knockout. They're going to Chinchino. They're getting rid of an Evolution Incense, which is not a Rapid Strike card. Can Malamar get there? Can they get the 320? Like I said, if they get the 320, we've got a game on our hands. If not, then we are relatively comfortable, I'd imagine. If they don't knock us out, we can just return the knockout, and then we've got the backup attacker on the bench in Tauros to be able to win the game from there. They're going to Fog Crystal, so getting rid of a card that is not a Rapid Strike card to grab an energy. That suggests to me that they don't have 8. Evolve into Octillery. What are we looking at here? Canrod? What are we looking at? Do you have the pieces required to get a win in this matchup? It is looking less and less likely. They're going to Karina's Focus to try and draw a couple of extra cards, but 6 is not going to be enough. Octillery will search for a 7th. Be absolutely shattering if our opponent misses by 1. Could you imagine? Rapid Strike Tentacles, the most they can deal is 7. So we should be fine. There's 4 there. I'm just gonna let the damage happen. 160 as they shuffle 4 into their deck, and that's gonna be the game. We finally draw a draw supporter, which is great for us. We can play down the air balloon. We can attach a powerful colorless energy to Tauros, maybe. That seems fine. And then, yeah, our opponent has conceded. There is no way for them to win from here, unfortunately. But our deck worked, and that's the most important thing. I've made myself a smidgen smaller, and we definitely have a significantly worse start this game than we did the first game. Our opponent's playing Sableyes, and this could mean literally anything, because so many decks are playing this Inteleon line at the moment. This could be Ice Rider, it could be Inteleon VMAX, it could be, what else? What else is playing that? Rapid Strike Urshifu, possibly. Top decking the V has made this hand considerably better, though. I'm going to play down the Stadium and the Houndour, and then I think we're just going to Marnie. We'll put that VMAX on the bottom of the deck, and try and find ourselves an energy, which we've done, which is really, really good. We've got a Capture Energy here, which I think is the play. We'll put that down. We will get ourselves, I think, another Tornadus V. We can draw if we want to, but to be honest, I think we're fine. We want the single strike energy in our hand. We're going to attach that. We're going to get the Houndoom. We're going to research. It's going to be fantastic. So we've got ourselves a really solid second turn lined up. Our opponent, it looks like, is playing Inteleon V. So this is going to be a really interesting one. They can obviously take damage on the do damage to the bench and knock out some of our Pokemon with extra damage ticks. But this Inteleon VMAX deck is very reliant on cards like Melanie now, because our opponent is obviously not playing cards like Frostmoth, or at least it doesn't look like it. Now, I have bigged up my hand and about how good it is, so my opponent obviously will Marnie. They actually searched for that Marnie with the Drizzile, which is bold of them. Obviously, they had no idea what was in my hand. They just decided that they didn't want me to have it. And they've actually given me a pretty solid couple of cards here. If this boss's order, if this Crobat can turn into a couple of Houndoom, then boss's orders could be really strong for us. We might be able to knock out the Inteleon on the bench. We are obviously a fair way away. We'll need a VMAX, 2 Houndooms, and an attachment to guarantee that knockout. But it is definitely possible. Now, our opponent's going to use Keep Calling here, which is the reason that this Sobble is so strong. It can search out a whole bunch of Rapid Strike Pokemon, and they're going to get 2 more Sobbles. We've been given an energy, which I like. Let's trade away this V for a couple of cards. Ooh, that's a couple of good ones right there. I'm going to grab a Houndoom, and we can attach the air balloon as well, which is really good. So that's our switch for us. We can get the Houndoom out of the active now. I'm going to attach the Capture Energy, I think, to the Tornadus. Let's just go all in. We'll grab another Houndour here, just in case, because that way we can kind of we can retreat. I'm going to single strike Roar, and you know what? I think I'm going to take the gamble. I think I'm going to gamble on it. Let's boss up the Inteleon and then Crobat for 5 and just hope that we get it, right? Because if we do, that'd be pretty good. It'd show how powerful this deck can be, which is the most important thing. Houndoom and... okay. Alright, Tornadus VMAX, here we go. We've got all the pieces, ladies and gentlemen. All of the pieces are here. We can single strike Roar again, get ourselves another single strike energy, and now we can retreat into our VMAX and knock out this Inteleon with Blasting Spirit, which is very, very powerful. That's 280 damage. And we've also given ourselves a boss's orders for next turn as well. It's a big gust from me as well. Zoes Popper 716. Genuinely cannot believe that that happened, but hey, it did. I'll give you a little heart for that. Sorry for blowing up your Inteleon. Well, and now with the hand that we currently have, our opponent is kind of boxed into a corner a little bit. They have to find 2 Inteleon Vs this turn to get themselves an attacker next turn, which I think is not likely for them. And plus, they don't know that we have boss, so we are in a great spot. As long as our hand stays the same. As long as they don't search out another Marnie and just ruin it for us, we are in a good position. Our opponent retreats into a Sobble. Interesting choice. Oh, because they want to get the energy. Okay, so they're going to Melanie onto the Inteleon, and that means there's no Marnie. Maybe a reset stamp from our opponent could be particularly frustrating. But at the moment, it's not looking like they're going to be doing any of that. Do we just take a second knockout on the Inteleon V? Just another massive one. It looks like we're going to. Alright, well, let's play down the stadium. I am going to attach to the bench Tornadus. We're going to single strike Roar. There's only 1 energy left in the deck, but that's okay. We can live with that. We are going to use Pokemon Communication. We're going to get rid of the Tauros to grab another VMAX, which we'll have set up and ready to go for our next potential attacker. And we get the healing as well, which is fantastic. We'll attach the air balloon. We'll use boss's orders to bring out the other Inteleon, and then we will max win spirits, take 2 more prizes, and I feel like that is pretty much the game. Like, how is our opponent going to deal with this? We have pretty much everything that we need, and we've found Professor's research off of the prizes as well. So even if our opponent does elect to just sacrifice a Sobble this turn and try and get a Inteleon VMAX up and running, we could potentially attach 2 powerful colorless energies to our benched Tornadus VMAX, and that could be enough to win us the game. In fact, it would be. We'd deal 320 damage, so nothing that our opponent could put in play would stop us from winning. So there you go, Tornadus VMAX coming through really, really clutch for us here. Again, we've got ourselves a situation where I think it's impossible for our opponent to win. And looks like they've identified that. Well played, and a concession. Tornadus putting the pressure on and getting wins on the ladder. So now we come to the scores. How good is this deck overall? Well, to be honest, playability-wise, it is pretty solid. I'm going to give this one a B for playability. And there's lots of changes you can make to make this deck better as well, by the way. I haven't played a single strike Scroll of Scorn. How's that for a difficult thing to say? And you definitely could. There's a bunch of other single strike attackers that would be good in this deck, so definitely a lot of room for playing around with the deck list to try and improve it and making it better. Consistency-wise, I'm giving it a C. It requires a lot of energy, which is the biggest problem with this deck. We saw a couple of games where the energy wasn't a problem, but I can tell you that when Tornadus VMAX gets knocked out, if you can't get a bunch of Houndoom set up, it can be quite difficult to get the next attack going, so I'm giving that one a little bit of a lower mark there. Value-wise, it's a B. It's a very easy VMAX to get your hands on at the moment. Obviously, there are some expensive cards in the deck, but it is definitely achievable, and it's a pretty fun deck as well. I'm not going to say that it's great fun. It's definitely good. I'm giving this one a B-. It is an acceptable deck. I think that it's pretty good, and if you're unable to pick up something like Single Strike Urshifu, or unwilling to pick up something like Single Strike Urshifu, then Tornadus could potentially be a very nice backup. So thank you everyone for coming past today and enjoying this video with me. And thank you especially to all of my channel members. If you'd like to become one, there's a link down in the description as well as a join button next to the subscribe button. Click both of them, see what happens. The join button will take you to a page where you can spend some money if you'd like. It only costs $3 a month to support the channel. That's a $3 Australian as well, so it's not too expensive. Only do it if you feel comfortable, obviously. Dadbot, Azazel, you guys are heroes. Fernando, Yolo, Stephen Ty, Agent Abel, Austin, Josiah, Leaf Devour, Obsy, Brad, Shinks, Brad, Justin, Crocodile Gaming, and Drew. Thank you all for being very generous supporters, as well as all of these people. Ooh, over here, Mega Sableyes, appreciate you guys. I will catch everyone next time. for more from whatever this is. Goodbye.